and getting out of our feelings completely and saying, okay, let's balance this off, then we can find our way through the week.
Welcome to Cards and Constellations with Bonnie Morris and Don Rumor Rivera from Sonoran Mystic Tarot. Here, we blend astrology and tarot to guide you through the twists and turns for the week ahead. Don't forget to hit subscribe and share. Let's dive into your cosmic journey together.
Hello. The moon this week on Friday, the 1st, August 1st, we have the first quarter in Scorpio at 27 degrees 33 minutes. Now remember, during the first quarter, we do all the work on whatever project you've chosen. And to find that out, we step back and find the new moon in Scorpio. That occurred on November 1st, 2024 at 9 degrees 34 minutes of Scorpio. So check, where do you write your intentions down? I hope you did. That will tell you what you're working on right now. Then we have to move forward and find the full moon in Scorpio. That occurs on May 1st of 2026 at 11 degrees 20 minutes of Scorpio. That's when everything becomes lit up. You can see the whole project, and if it's not exactly what you want, you tweak it. And then we pivot and start to turn away. We have to look for the last quarter moon now in Scorpio. It happens on January 29th, 2027 at 9 degrees 7 minutes of Scorpio. And that's where we celebrate our success and turn away, allow the project to move on by itself, and we wait for another new moon. Now, in the void, of course, we're going to take a look on July 28th. The void, of course, begins at 5:56 p.m., and that is Mountain Standard Time, Phoenix time, at 27 degrees 32 minutes of Virgo. It ends that day at 10:43 p.m., and that's when it enters into the sign of Libra. Then again on the 29th at 8:58 p.m., the void begins at 11 degrees of Libra. It ends on the 31st. Now, remember that. That's a long void, okay? It ends on the 31st at 10:25 a.m., and that's when it enters into Scorpio. I'll pause here and remind you, during a void, you never start a project because it likely will have to be redone. So unless you like practice, be careful. Finish up projects, fold the laundry, do the dishes, whatever it is that you can do, but don't start anything new. Okay, so we still have 5 planets in retrograde. But first, let's go to August 2nd. We have the last void at 6:06 p.m., 27 degrees 33 minutes of Scorpio. It ends that night at 11 p.m. when it enters into Sagittarius. Again, we still have 5 planets in retrograde. Pluto's in Aquarius. Both Saturn and Neptune are still dancing in Aries and Pisces, and Mercury in Leo. Now, we also just started with Chiron in retrograde in the sign of Aries.
So, Miss Bonnie, if I hear right, it sounds like this week, no matter what sign you have, it's going to be a complicated week. Something's happening. Can you help me understand that?
Sure. This week, we start out the week, I think it starts on Tuesday. We see a kite formation. Now, a kite formation is a specific pattern formed by a grand trine, a big triangle, 3 planets. It's harmonious, it's good energy, but there's also an opposition. The point of the head of the kite to the tail, that's a tug of war. That's where things get sticky. The opposition is also linked to the other 2 planets in the grand trine. So it creates this kite shape when you look at the chart. At the end of the week, it gets even more complicated. We have 2 kites, and they're pulling us in 2 different directions.
I don't want it. I don't want it.
There's
and
also...
then you have these long voids. These long voids that have growing longer and longer. And you, like you said before, about 2 weeks ago, we had one of the longest voids you'd seen. And this week, once
It's
again,
even
we have an exceptionally long void.
Yep, absolutely. And of course, there are also a lot of squares. Now, squares in a chart means that you have to act on something. If you don't, things are going to get real sticky. So, yeah, it is a real complicated week for everyone.
Oh my gosh, then I guess we better get into the individual reading and see how this coordinates with the next sign up.
Okay, Gemini, this week we find Mercury, your planet, in conjunct with the Sun. A union of mind and identity creates quick thinkers and expressive communicators. And boy, that's you. A spark of creativity and curiosity here with a strong focus on ideas and self-expression. Subjectively, it may color your thinking. It also brings heartfelt originality, especially valuable for artists, writers, and performers. This conjunction is a tug of war, though, with Pluto, the planet of transformation and change. The Sun opposite Pluto reflects a dynamic tension between your personal identity and those deep forces of change or control. Whether internal or external, you may feel drawn into power struggles. Be cautious. Or challenged by people who reflect their shadow side of their own nature. You may attract intense or transformative relationships and find that their lives are both marked with cycles of death and rebirth, literally and metaphorically. The path is one of integration. Accept your own depth, facing fear, learning to work with power wisely and transparently. You can emerge as a powerful catalyst for growth here. Mercury also sextiles the moon. That's a harmonious aspect. It's got elegant balance between thoughts and feelings, usually with an excellent memory and a gift for storytelling, a deep interest in human nature. You express yourself with warmth and clarity. You're often drawn to fields like teaching or writing or psychology. Your emotional insights help form strong, meaningful connections with others. Sun will sextile the moon. It's a gentle connection. It brings a natural flow between your heart and your identity, a peaceful inner rhythm and emotional ease, radiating that warmth and harmony in relationships, especially with those of the opposite sex. A quiet confidence and emotional balance often supports success and satisfaction. In the beginning of the week, you see a kite formed. A kite. Whoa, that's new for all of us. It's composed of a grand trine, which is a big triangle of 3 separate planets. Okay. And it has an opposition. The head of the kite down to the tail. That's a tug of war there. So you have to work out a compromise to lessen the tension there. And this one is between Saturn, and which is your feelings and responsibilities. You've got the moon as your feelings, and you've got Saturn with responsibilities. So you must find that compromise. Move to the end of the week. On the 3rd, you'll see 2 kites. The first one we just spoke of, and the second one pointing straight at Pluto, with the tail as Mercury. So the opposition between Pluto and Mercury becomes transformative. It's a tug of war with your thoughts, your ideas, your communication. So you think you want to do something, but you first must change in some way. Don, what do you have in tarot?
Hello, Gemini. No. Okay. Well, thank you, Miss Bonnie. Now let's see what Spirit and Universe has in reference to tarot, and if that aligns with that interesting and sometimes troubling reading you just gave us for astrology. Oh my goodness, feelings and responsibilities? Nah, could it be? Here we go, here we go, here we go. First card out, I'm loving it. King of Cups. If you're going to have a conflicting week, if you're going to have some issues with responsibility, the conflict between responsibility and feelings, the King of Cups is the best energy to have because it's an energy that tells you this week, go with the flow. You can still be in control because you're the king. You can still be in control. And then when I'm saying that, I mean king, not as in gender. I'm talking that energy. So don't give me that stuff, folks, because I'm talking energy here. So that strong, powerful energy about being in control, but allowing change to come around as you see it around you, to allow yourself to make the changes necessary, allow things to flow. And if you have to move a little bit to make the flow happen, do it. If you have to get up and totally change, then do it too. But you've got the energy for it this week because, again, you're open to change. This is a good week for you in that sense because you are open and ready. You're like, hey, bring it on. I've got this. This is a strong, kind of very positive vibe I'm picking up here. And I like this. Look at this. This is the Knight of Swords. So the Knight of Swords is telling you, bring it on. I am going to be in my, this is the responsibility card, by the way. You may be talking about feelings, but I'm going to have to bring in a change of a different way of doing things because maybe you have been so much into your feelings that this is saying, let's get a little responsibility, a little logic, a little reasoning going through here. And we'll be fine. If we bring that into, again, bringing that energy in, and getting out of our feelings completely and saying, okay, let's balance this off, then we can find our way through the week. And this is a navigation card because remember that king is on water, so he's already navigating as it is. The Knight of Swords is a very active energy, by the way. It's one of the most aggressive of energies, and it's moving forward. And so when you have those two energies, it's telling you this is going to be a very productive week as long as you allow the change to happen and deal with things. And look at this, is the Fool card. And sometimes this can be a negative card because, again, the Fool can be seen as somebody who's taking risks and taking those things. But this is also a new card, a new energy. And it's like doing something new and trying something new. And again, we talked about the king being the change, the Knight of Swords bringing in the logic and reasoning. So again, bringing that into maybe balance out. And again, you trying something different, you letting that happen and work with it because that's the Fool card. The Fool card says, you know what? If you do this, we're going to be okay. We're going to be okay. Last card out is that King of Swords. Now, I love it because once you realize how you can meld the two, maybe you can make them work together. You're like, hey, I'm going to embrace this moving forward. So this may be a summer of enlightenment. This may be a summer of awareness. Ultimately, this may be a summer of major change for you and maybe, again, a breakthrough or awakening because this is a week where you're going to tap some things in you that you weren't quite certain you had or you were never maybe pushed to embrace as much as you will this week. And one final card, I love this energy of your week, is a Three of Cups. So the Three of Cups is a very celebratory energy, a very happy energy. And you know why? Because you're open to change. You're accepting the possibility of what could be learned by the change. And then you make the change. And so no wonder the energy around you is supportive of you because it is happy that you're happy and that you made the transition. I am fascinated by this reading. I like this reading. This is one of the better readings so far this week in that sense because you know what? It takes ownership. It takes responsibility. And it said, I can do this. And some of the other ones are more in a defensive posture. This one's like, no, I am taking control. And I kind of like it, Miss Bonnie. How does that resonate with how you saw astrology?
I think it fits perfectly because you've got that opposition. So you've got, I feel like I want to go play and celebrate, but you got responsibility over here saying you got to do the dishes first. So work it together.
The dishes. Anything but the dishes. That's as bad as laundry, Miss Bonnie. Please don't do that to me. Please don't do that. Lord have mercy. And if you want to show us some love and make us not have to do the dishes, how would they do that, Miss Bonnie?
Down in the lower right-hand corner is that subscribe button. Please, please push that button. Set that little bell to all. And anytime we post a video or come live, we will send you a message and let you know. Now, once you've done that down here, if you're on my channel, hop over to Sonoran Mystic Tarot, do the same thing. Hit that subscribe button, set that little bell, and of course, do it to the new channel, Cards and Constellations. We're trying to build that eventually. That's the only place you will find these videos. But for now, the biggest thing you can do after pushing that like button is to share it out, because you understand that sometimes other signs will resonate with you. The same thing goes for other people. They may need to hear this message. Please share it out.
Especially when one is so enlightening as this one, because people need to know if they're having that kind of week, a week where you feel like you have some pressure, if you have some inkling that it gets better from here, it can help change your entire trajectory for the week, not just this sign, but all signs. So please, folks, share it out. With that said, thank you so much for popping in. With love, light, and blessings to you and your family from me and mine, and Miss Bonnie and hers. Have a great week, and we'll see you next week. Don't forget to send us a message. Let us know how this resonates with you. And if you'd like to hear something specific, personal, we can help you with that too. Again, messages will help you out. We'll hook you up. Bye.